Welcome back to the Better and Better podcast. Today we are sitting down with Jennifer Livingston, who is the 2025 SPAAR president. My name is Luke Fleck. I am our director of digital engagement here, and we're going to have a fun time talking about her real estate journey, how she got into volunteering, and kind of what the outlook for SPAAR and our mission in 2025 is going to look like. Thank you so much for joining us here today, Jennifer.
Yeah, thanks for letting me come in and talk about myself.
Yeah, awesome. So let's just kind of dive right in. How long have you been a realtor, and what kind of got you started?
Yes. So I have been a realtor since 2001, and I started because I was working as an intern at my place of business now, and I was working at a high school through an internship. And after working there for a couple of years, I started there when I was 16. Deanna Weiner, my broker, said, "Why don't you get your real estate license?" And she says that to so many people. And I thought, you know what? It's pretty intimidating, real estate. I knew it took a lot of energy and time, but I thought, you know what? If I do this and I really like it and I just help my friends and family in 20 years, just think of all the things I'll know. I'll be a pro by the time I'm 40. And so I got my real estate license. I was going to college. I did it on evenings and weekends because they didn't offer classes online back then. And I got my license and I started working with friends and family and just kind of built my business organically through referrals and people that I know. And fast forward, and in 2026, it'll be my 25th year as a realtor.
Wow. Well, congratulations. That's an achievement.
Yeah.
You know, especially because I think the average tenure is about 8 years or something like that.
And so many people get into real estate as kind of their second, third, or fourth career.
Yeah.
So I feel like my story is a little bit unique because I did start so young, and I've never been with any other brokerage. I've never bounced around and tried anywhere else. I've stayed where I started, which I think is also very unique. And I did work in the office, you know, and I did have that kind of day job, but I don't really do that anymore. I just help manage our realtors and help grow their business and continue to work on my own.
Well, that's awesome. And that's what's kind of really cool about real estate, right? Is everyone has a different path into it, right? It's not always the same path. Right. There's, you know, tons of people like you who I've been doing this my entire working career, right? And then there's other people, like you said, it's a third or fourth career.
Yes.
Right. And all those types of, everyone can be successful. And that's what's super awesome about it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So how long have you been volunteering with SPAAR then? And kind of what got you involved with volunteering in the first place?
I wanted to start stepping away from the major role I was playing within my office. And I wanted to start getting involved more with not just selling real estate, but really diving into volunteering at SPAAR. And my broker's always been very involved in the committees that we have here and leadership roles and board of directors. And so a couple people from my office were on Metro YPN. I think Mike Debo, Laura Scheidecker, and Danielle Bickham Pelton. And so I thought when they were stepping away from that, I thought, well, I'll step into it. So I started on Metro YPN, and I believe that was in 2018, 2017. And Danielle became chair, and you were our liaison.
I was.
And then COVID happened, and so we kind of did a couple repeat years as chair and co-chair, and kind of got the committee through that hard time. We had to pivot and do a lot of virtual things. Had a lot of fun making videos and just kind of reimagining how we can do things when we couldn't do in person. And then the challenge of in-person stuff back here at the office at SPAAR, and getting people involved. And then I applied to be on the board of directors, and I did the leadership SPAAR program. And then I just thought, you know what? I would like to step into the role of leadership. And so Mark Mason was president at the time. He threw me on the executive committee his year. And then I applied to be treasurer and president-elect and president.
That's a very interesting pathway.
Yeah.
So it sounds like, especially the time that you started getting really involved, especially in more leadership capacities, you've really had to kind of think outside the box because there's been a lot of changes.
Yes.
Right. You mentioned COVID, and that was a really, really big change.
Yes.
And it sounds like you guys really had to rethink how you were offering.
Yeah. I mean, Metro YPN at the time was known for our biggest Tuesday sales meeting ever, where we would have, hundreds of people meet to get some continuing education on a Tuesday. And we couldn't do that. And so we started doing some webinars and just Good Morning YPN we started, where we would do some free seminars and free training, and that was virtual. And then getting it back here after COVID. So it was a lot of thought put into it, and I think our committee did a great job on trying to figure out how can we get people involved. And a lot of people come to the committee for networking, but also realizing that we are creating other networking opportunities for others, not just ourselves. And what is the value? How are we going to get people to take time out of their day when we're already so busy? How are we going to ask them to possibly walk away from an hour of their business, an hour of their family time? What can we do? What is the value we're going to bring to get people to come to one of our events? And I think that's something that can get overlooked sometimes. What's in it for the member? What are we doing this for? And I think you helped us really stay on track with that.
You guys did a phenomenal job. Yeah. And that's the other piece of it too. And I know this is a little bit of a sidetrack. The networking is part of your business, right? As realtors, you guys are always on the clock.
Yes.
Let's be honest here.
Yep.
You're in the grocery store, you're on the clock.
Yes, always.
You're volunteering at your kids, sporting events, you're on the clock, right?
Yep.
Everyone always asks, "Oh, what do you do?"
What do you do?
So it's very apparent. And those networking opportunities are a really huge value part of SPAAR, right?
Absolutely.
And it seems like that's something that you've really benefited from.
Yes.
And not just from the aspect of your business, but also your professional development and your personal growth
and
as
confidence.
a leader.
And I think as soon as someone finds out you're in real estate, they want to talk to you because real estate is fascinating for people that aren't in it. Also, there's so many TV shows about it that don't really show the ugly truth of what it can be. But I also think it can be so beautiful. And, the realtors that are truly passionate about what they do, many of them volunteer here. So to be around that, and I know I've talked about this in some of our other videos, but it's just such a great opportunity to meet with people in person that are like-minded and just to talk to them, because so many of our offices just don't have the people that they used to, because this is such an amazing virtual business that allows us to be virtual. All of our tools, we don't really have to be in our office anymore. So to be here and to network with people that aren't just realtors, but home inspectors, loan officers, title companies, it gives us an opportunity to meet with and support other businesses with people that are volunteering and truly care about our industry.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, you just kind of answered my next question there. Okay. Kind of like why volunteering was important to you. And it sounds like it really was that connections being made and the learning and just that peer-to-peer development of just through osmosis, seeing how other people
are doing things because, let's face it, every office is a little different. And there's, you ask a realtor, 10 realtors the same question, they may have 10 different answers for you because there's not always a perfect formula to do something. And so to hear how other people are being successful in what they're doing and what they're trying, everyone here is so open to talk about it. And I think that it's just a great resource to meet other people and to learn from them. And everyone here is willing to teach you.
That is a fantastic aspect of just association worlds in general. Right?
Absolutely.
That collaborative atmosphere of coming together.
Because like I've said, I've only been at one company. So how would I know anything different unless I meet other people from different companies? It's the same with your friends. You can be so close-minded to things, and if you have a good, diverse group of friends, man, they can open up your eyes to a whole new world that you wouldn't even think of based on the way that you were raised.
Well, and that's one of the huge pushes of college too, isn't it? Right? Getting that, seeing different perspectives.
Yes.
Fast forwarding here now, now as SPAAR president in 2025, what are you most excited for in 2025?
I am most excited to talk about SPAAR and our value proposition. I want everyone to know that this is not the year of Jennifer Livingston. This is the year of SPAAR, and this is the year of my whole leadership team and all the staff and what we do here. I want to spread the value and the advocacy that we do for our members and talk about what we do. We have where you don't have to always be a member now to get the MLS. We have non-member access to the MLS. And so we want people to know we're not just your MLS access. We are so much more than that. And to be an essential role during COVID was largely due because of the advocacy that our realtor group does as a whole. So this is not a time where we should be going off on our own. This is a time where you should unify. And I know some people are upset with the way that NAR has handled some things over the last couple of years. And I can definitely say I wasn't the happiest about it either. But there's some great change coming. And Nakia Wright is our new CEO. And I just saw her speak at the Inman Connect in New York last week. And she's absolutely phenomenal. And she is an outsider that is not from the real estate industry. And I think that's exactly what we need, because she has a fresh mindset and insight to how we can be better for our members and changes that are going to be made to better our members. And now is not a time to shy away from your association. It's a time to lean in and unify and become one.
Oof, I just got some chills. Podcast done. We don't have to do anything. We don't have to do anything else. So what are some of your other hopes and goals in 2025 and kind of how they align with SPAAR?
I've been saying this since I've been involved at SPAAR, even when I used to be I was on the board in 2006 to 2008 too, when I was extremely new and very intimidated. So I had a different perspective than I do now. But you see the same people getting involved, and that's amazing. Mm-hmm. But we need new people getting involved. We need people to see the value of our association, and you don't know what you don't know. We say that about homeowners all the time. So I would love to reach out to brokers that are maybe not sending their realtors here to volunteer and find out why. Maybe meet with them and let them know how this can actually help their business, because it can help their realtors. So just bridging that gap, creating the advocacy, and getting in front of other people and letting them know what we do and why it's important to be involved here.
Awesome. What kind of upcoming initiatives or changes do you kind of foresee in the local real estate market in 2025? And how do you think they will impact both agents and clients?
2024 had a lot, right? So we settled the whole dispute. We made some changes to our forms and how compensation is done. We also have non-member access now starting this year. So how that is going to play out is really to be seen. We don't really know how that's going to play out. So I think this is an opportunity for us to hopefully not see a lot of major changes, to be honest. I don't want huge changes coming. There's a lot of talk about the Clear Cooperation Agreement. I just was at a conference where they talked about that a lot. Is that going to be something that's coming down the pipeline? That's something we're going to have to help our members navigate if they choose to do that. So that's something that we have our pulse on. I have my own thoughts on that and how that would go. I'm really hoping that it stays the way that it is, because I feel like it's the best for our consumers and it's the best for all of our brokers of every size, to make it more fair. That's just my personal opinion. So because we had so many changes in 2024, I'm hoping 2025 is less eventful so that we can really stop treading water and really make some moves and become an industry leader for our members.
Well, and beyond just the stuff going inside the industry, I mean, you have the rise of AI, right? And that being implemented in so many capacities.
Yes.
And I know that's kind of like, it's still evolving and it's still developing, and it's been almost a couple years now since it's been in the mainstream. But I'd be curious to kind of know, how do you see that continuing to be a part of the real estate industry?
I first heard about it a couple years ago, ChatGPT, and I dove right in because I thought one of the things that stood out to me was they said that this is never going to replace a realtor, but a realtor using it will replace a realtor who's not. And that stuck with me. And I've seen it happen within my own office where you have realtors that don't really keep up with the times and the technology. And I do think it can hurt your business if you do not keep up with even Instanet and AuthentiSign. There's some realtors that just don't use that, but it can make your business so efficient. I truly believe people still need us. I don't think it's anything that we need to be afraid of. I think it's something we can be cautiously optimistic about, learn about it, use the tools, but still have the realtor perspective. So you can't just put into Chat GPT some stuff about your house and then copy and paste it. You need to read through it and make sure that you're not violating any of the fair housing laws. You have to be really careful with that because it's just a computer, it's not a person. And so I think people still want that personal touch. But are we showing as many houses as we used to? No. Number one, there's not as much inventory. And secondly, many buyers are online looking at houses years before they even purchase. So it actually can help us a little bit because they have a pulse on what the houses are selling for, what they can get within their budget. So I don't think, again, that technology is something we should shy away from. I'm really excited to see what it brings us. And I am very confident that realtors will not be replaced.
Well, and I've heard you mention before, back when, everyone was talking about everyone's just going to do all their transactions online and they're just going to, they're going to go find the house and they're just going to send an offer and do everything themselves.
Right.
And realtors aren't going to exist anymore. Right. I've heard you talk about that a few times. And just how everyone was so afraid of that and realtors are still here.
Yep. Exactly. They made us really panic, like, oh my gosh, they're not even going to need us. And we're still here. And I just got done, we haven't closed yet, but I've been working with a first-time home buyer. And, his journey began a year before I even really met him because it's something that he knew he wanted to do. And he started working with a loan officer and kind of getting ready for that. And when the time was right, he reached out to me and I started counseling him and helping him along with his journey. So again, before the internet and before houses were even online, I probably would have been in contact with him much sooner than that. He would have reached out to me first, but there's just so much information online for people. And I think it's great that we can be there to help be a tool for them and to help clarify some of the things because he still leaned on me and asked a ton of questions because it is a new process. And even though we do it every day, most people don't do it every day. So yeah, it seems like it should be pretty easy to buy a house until you go to buy a house. And then you're like, oh, well, I guess I really don't know what I'm supposed to be doing here. And you really need, this whole new transparency in working with buyers. We've always had comparative market analysis. We've always met with our sellers and done consultations with them. This is a great opportunity for us to get in front of buyers and talk about our value proposition to our buyers and talk to them, have that consultation with them where it's not like, well, they just call me up and want to go see a house and then I just go show it to them. Well, no, I'm sitting down with them. I'm going over contracts with them. I'm talking about why they want to work with me because we need to have them sign an agreement, some type of agreement before we show them houses. And so it opens up this amazing opportunity for us to talk to buyers and talk about why it's important to work with a realtor.
That's awesome. That is awesome. And I don't think realtors are ever going to go out of style.
Yeah.
I'll probably be dead before that. And even when I went to buy my first home, as someone who works in the association, I was like, oh yeah, no, that'll be pretty streamlined. I have a somewhat of a grasp, right? I don't have my real estate license or anything like that.
But you're still in it.
And I was still like, oh my goodness, I didn't know about this. And having a realtor really was beneficial because then I didn't have to necessarily worry about a lot of that other stuff that, the stuff I didn't know, right? And having someone to walk you through that process, someone who was a realtor that abides by a code of ethics that I knew I could trust.
Right.
Huge game changer, right? Because for most of us, it's going to be the largest investment and largest purchase of our life.
And you said it's investment. We are helping people. We are so lucky as realtors to do what we do. Honestly, everybody knows one or two realtors. There's a lot of realtors out there. So when someone chooses to use you, what an honor. And we have such a great responsibility to help them in such a big investment. Like you said, it's more than just a home. It's an investment. It's a financial stability for their future. It's generational wealth. And I'm proud to say that I've been creating generational wealth since 2001. And I use that in my tagline because I want people to know that this is more than just transactions. This is meaningful relationships for me. And I truly mean that within my clients and also with realtors, because the good realtors that I work with are going to be there again to work with in the future. So when I am done with a transaction, I want someone to say, oh, that Jennifer Livingston, she was great to work with. And when my name pops up on their phone when I'm calling them, I don't want them to do an eye roll. I want them to say, oh, Jen's calling. I hope she's writing on my listing. Or, oh, Jen's got a listing. She's a great realtor. You know, I want them to have that confidence that they know that I'm going to be great with communication, not only with my clients, but with other realtors. I'm going to give them feedbacks on all the showings that I do. It's about having respect for the people that we're working with, not only our clients, but the other realtors too. I want them to see my name and I want them to know I work with integrity. And I hope every realtor feels that way. I don't ever want to leave a bad taste in someone's mouth. I want them to be excited when they see my name and know that I'm going to do everything I can within my power to get the job done for my client.
Well, if you're this passionate about your clients, I can only imagine how passionate you are about realtors and supporting them, especially here in 2025 as president. And I know your whole big 3 initiatives for the year, right? Your kind of theme was this navigating change, leading with purpose, and creating opportunities. I really want to unpack that, kind of what those mean and how they will guide you in your leadership role as president in 2025.
I want to be your cheerleader. I want to motivate you. I don't want it to be, you know, what can you do for SPAAR? I want it to be, what can SPAAR do for you? How can we help you? How can this be a win-win? How can you come in and volunteer your time, but leave with so much more than you gave us? That's what I want it to be. I want you to go to a committee meeting and feel great when you leave. I want you to come to our board meetings and think, wow, that was a great discussion. I feel so fulfilled that I was able to give my input and feel comfortable around that table with other industry leaders. I want you to lean on SPAAR and know that anything that comes down the pipeline, we will be prepared for, we are confident, and we are ready.
And I know you are very passionate about supporting newer agents.
Absolutely.
And helping them develop and become better.
The reason is because when I started, I was so young and I felt I had another person at my office that got her real estate license at the same time as me, but she was in her 50s. And when we would sit at open houses, they had no idea that she was new. Because for all they knew, because of her age, she had been doing it for 20 years. But as a 19-year-old sitting in an open house, they knew I was new. Other realtors knew that I was new. And they took advantage of me. I had thinner skin back then. And I don't ever want that to happen to another agent again. I don't ever want them to feel not confident and that a realtor is holding something over them and have them second guess, did I do that wrong? Should I not have done that? I love when my agents call me and ask me questions and I can say, you absolutely did the right thing. You stuck to your guns and you absolutely are being ethical and doing everything that you can for your client. You did absolutely nothing wrong. Just because the other agent doesn't like that it didn't go their way does not mean you did anything wrong. You did everything right. I love patting them on the back. I love reviewing their contracts. I love looking at everything and making sure that they are doing everything they possibly can to be successful for them and their clients. I am extremely passionate about helping other agents, not even within my office, but anyone at SPAAR. You know, I love going to the leadership SPAAR events and as the leadership team, looking around at other future leaders, specifically women. I think that we have a ton of realtors that are women and not all of them step up into leadership roles. It is more difficult when you have children and they are in sports and everything else, but it can absolutely be done because I'm doing it now. And you have a calendar, you time block, you plan, you prepare. If you don't have a plan, I always say, if you don't have a plan, you prepare to fail. So let's prepare to win. Let's stay organized, have a calendar, and, you know, schedule it in, and it'll get done.
That's awesome. I'm really seeing now why you started with the Metro YPN committee, because that's typically a committee that newer agents join, newer realtors. And you know, it sounds like you really then were able to feel fulfilled yourself, being able to provide those newer agents.
I can't wait to get back on the committee. I had to step down because the whole state, it's a whole great support system when you're in the leadership role. So as president-elect, all the president-elects meet on Zoom the first Thursday of the month at 9:00. And that's typically when Metro YPN would meet. So last year I had to step down from that. And now the presidents from around the state meet at the same time. I can't wait to go back to Metro YPN committee and ignite others. I can't wait to get back on that committee and meet newer agents and really push them to get into leadership SPAAR. And I know you do a great job of that because our whole leadership team this year came from Metro YPN and leadership SPAAR. So Luke does a great job on our committees, and most of the staff does too, of seeing, who has more to give, who has a little twinkle in their eye that you think, oh, I see potential in them. And sometimes people don't even realize they have it. So it's our job to see it within them and spark it and let them know, you're very confident. I can tell that you're great at this. Have you ever thought about XYZ? Because some people don't think about it. They don't see themselves as a leader. And leaders come in all different shapes and sizes.
They do. They really do. And it's always fun, as a staff person, getting to see the new agents walk through the door at new member orientation and seeing how excited a lot of them can be, right? About like, this is a whole new world, right?
Yes.
And there's just so much value that they can get just from, coming and attending events, even as simple as that, and taking advantages of the tools and resources that they receive through the association, both here at the local level at SPAAR, the state, and the national.
Yes.
It's just insane. And RPR, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Like every time I look at that tool, I'm like, if you were to pay for this tool outright, you'd be spending at least $1,000 a year.
Right.
Like they would be making so much money if this, and it's completely offered to members for free.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. And every time I go into that tool, I feel like I just scratched the surface.
I know there's
of
so
what's
much
available.
in there.
And that's just one resource that's available. So then in your view, kind of going back to the real estate industry, what is the most significant trend or innovation in the real estate industry today, and how does it affect your business for the better or for the worse?
I think we talked about it. I think the biggest trend right now is the artificial intelligence, and it comes in so many different ways. I mean, they're talking about on MLS when you upload your pictures that eventually it's going to come up with descriptions for you. It's going to fill in, it has this type of countertops, or it's got a walk-in shower. It's going to fill in things for you on your MLS input based on the pictures that are there. There's a tool I just learned about in ChatGPT called Sora, where you can upload a photo of like a sport court in the backyard and say, turn this into a video of kids playing basketball. And then guess what? All of a sudden kids are playing basketball, and you can use that video in your marketing. I think that can be awesome and amazing, and it's going to be great tools for us to use in our marketing. The part that I think could be harmful, and this is what I said before, is you have to proof it all and make sure that you're following fair housing. And even sometimes the pictures now that people use where they'll input the fake furniture, and then you get to the house and you're like, oh, wow, the carpet's super dirty and the walls are really dirty. This did not look like this online. They had pictures up on the walls and they had furniture over that dirty carpet. So it can kind of be deceiving too. So I do like when realtors will also put the picture of what the room actually looks like along with what the picture, what it could look like with furniture. I do like that they do that because you can kind of see the flow. It's the same when people stage a house. Sometimes it really does help if there's an awkward room. Well, what would we put in here? Staging can definitely help buyers to kind of see the flow of the home. But I also think it can be detrimental because even some of the wide angles, the buyers will get in there and they'll say, wow, this room looked so much bigger online. It's like, well, that's why it's so important, you guys, that we get out and look at these houses, because now a 10 by 10 room really looks like this. So there's that learning curve when you're taking buyers out, and you're having them look at houses. So I think that AI is big. I think it's going to continue. I think it is the future. I'm excited to see what comes out for us and how we can learn to use it. But again, I'm cautiously optimistic that it's never abused.
Yeah, where's that line of where it becomes unethical, where you're misleading people?
Yes.
Right? I mean, there was the whole, Photoshop, for example, right? Like there was a lot of stuff that the MLS had to decide of like what you can and cannot do for photos, do you kind of see then that having to be another discussion that they have of how do we handle, you know, AI enhanced?
Well, and there's even a disclaimer
photos.
when you're doing your remarks and when you're doing your photos, you have to check and say that these are my descriptions. These are my photos. So I'm not stealing these photos from anybody else, and I'm not stealing anyone else's wording. So there's disclaimers on there, and I would assume that moving forward, there's going to be other things too to help protect them and to help people stay honest.
Well, I mean, Instagram's already implemented something similar. There's a couple different companies that have done stuff. Instagram now will, if it detects that there's been AI generation at all, it will mark it as AI
generated.
assisted,
Okay.
or AI generated. And there's positives to that because that is very important to market, right? I mean, you look at how many people are on Facebook and they repost, oh, this is such a cute, you know, animal, and it's completely AI generated.
Right.
You
Well,
know?
not only that, but I could AI myself. So I can upload pictures of myself and say, you know, put me in some business outfits, and I could use it for marketing. I don't personally do that because I do feel like it doesn't always look like me, but somebody could do that. They could take my pictures from Facebook, upload them, and they could even make me talk like me. So that is a little scary to me. And I know it happens with celebrities, and I'm not saying realtors are there, but they can do it with politicians and everybody else. So who's to say somebody wouldn't do that? Oh, the president of SPAAR just said X, Y, Z. And I'm like, that wasn't really me. You know, that I've thought about that before, but we'll see what happens.
Or the security aspect too with a lot of scammers and phishers out there. I mean, we just had someone message our SPAAR Instagram account trying to be like, hey, we can help you with doing X, Y, and Z. And I was like, oh, we're not interested or whatever. And they kept pushing and not listening at all. And so I was like, I bet this is, because sometimes those are true people trying to solicit business. And then other times it's, you know, scammers who are taking other people's photos and whatever. So I looked, and sure enough, I found the actual Instagram account, and someone's posing and using someone else's photos who has a larger following, and hoping that you know who they are. And, you know, so it was just like, oh, they're pretending to kind of be someone else.
That's interesting. So I get messages like that on Instagram all the time, and I just ignore them.
Yeah, it's a good way to do it.
Yeah, but I mean, yes. I mean, I think if you're on social media, we get those spam messages all the time. I can help you, you know, with your following. You get more people to follow you. And it's like, well, the people that are following me are the people that know me. I don't need anybody else to follow me.
It will be very interesting. I agree with you. I think it's going to be very interesting to see how AI plays out over the next, 5 to 10 years. It really is, it's the biggest kind of innovation since the internet, right?
Yeah.
Like first you had the internet and now you have AI, and it's just completely changing so many things.
Even the way that you Google. I mean, when you Google things now, it's an AI response usually.
Yeah, and it bugs me a
Yeah.
lot because a lot of times it has misinformation too. Like, and it's not perfect, obviously,
Right.
but there's a lot of times where it'll pull from like Reddit or other places that aren't necessarily
True.
trustworthy sources that are, saying things that aren't actually accurate. And so we got to be careful and mindful of that. So what do you think? Why do you think now would be a good time for members to get involved in the association? And what can they expect if they do get involved and take that lead?
Because it's a choice. Before it was, well, I have to be a member of SPAAR to get my MLS. It's not anymore. So why not, since you're paying for being a member and you get to be a realtor, that's a great thing. Why not get involved and see what we do? One of the biggest things we do is advocacy. If you have a passion for that, get involved on the government affairs. There's something for everyone. If you love to volunteer in your community, there's community engagement. If you love networking and love planning events, there's a committee for that too. I mean, all you have to do is go to SPAAR's website and it will show you all the different committees that are on there. I just think now is the time. I mean, why wouldn't you want to get involved in something that you're paying for anyways to be a member? It's just like paying for Sam's Club or Costco, but then never going to it. Why wouldn't you take advantage of what's being offered to you? And continuing education plug, you should go online and do that because we now have on-demand courses. I don't know if everybody knows that, but we have enough for all of your CE needs and required courses. And Kristen does a great job at coming up with content for that. And if there's ever an idea of a class that you think we're missing, shoot her an email and we'll see if we can get it on for you.
I believe you did a couple classes, correct?
I did. One was on buyers and sellers. How to represent them, just an hour and a half class each, going on over all the new forms and how to explain it to your clients, because I feel like there's so much that you learn when you're taking the classes, but it's not real life. So I have put together all my checklists that I've created over the years and different email templates that I send to my clients. And I did put those in the classes for other people to use to try to help their business and become efficient so that you're not missing any steps.
So if someone does end up volunteering on a committee and getting involved or attending an event, what can they kind of expect when they show up?
Lots of friendly faces. I would say for me, SPAAR is very warm and fuzzy. The staff here is amazing. I know I said that a lot, but get to know the staff people here because they really are here to help us and our business. And without them, we just wouldn't exist. You guys put things into play for us. It's our ideas, but then you help execute them. And without you guys, that just wouldn't happen. So I would say talk to the staff, talk to any of the realtors that are there, specifically the leadership team. We are very friendly. We really do want to help you. I would love to get your feedback on anything that you think that we could be doing to help you. And we'll see if we can implement that. But I would say what you're going to see is a lot of laughing, a lot of smiles, a lot of people holding each other up and helping each other. I mean, Brianne Lawrence also owns her own brokerage and it's also small. So even though we are at different companies, we have very similar paths. And her and I met because of SPAAR, and she's one of my great realtor friends that we can talk to about different situations, even though we're at different brokerages. Can you believe it? I mean, my gosh. And we talk to each other all the time about different situations we have going on or different real estate news and even our personal life. We've become really good friends. And without SPAAR, I wouldn't have that connection. So you're going to meet some really great people.
So if people are interested,
yes,
they go to the website or what else? Just go to the website, or is there other ways that they can
reach out to any of us? I mean, reach out to any of your friends that go to SPAAR events. Look on our Facebook page. There's a whole group for SPAAR members. Look on the website. Read your newsletter that you get 3 times a week. They have it laid out, different events that are happening and education and advocacy. And there's just so many ways for you to get the information. So if you think that you're not getting it, you actually are. You're just not reading it. So read your newsletters, check your social media, reach out to any of us. And I know that we would be happy to talk to you about what is your passion? What do you want to do? What do you want to get involved in? And we can help pair you up with the right committee and come to the next event.
And give us a call too.
Yeah.
We're here to answer the phones, and say hi and point you in the right direction.
Yeah. They have a great front desk, so they'll be happy to help you.
They're awesome. So in kind of wrapping up here, you sound like a very busy person.
I'm organized. It's organized chaos.
Yeah, but you're busy, right? So when you're not volunteering at SPAAR, when you're not helping clients and helping newer agents, what do you do for fun?
My biggest joy in my life is my kids. And I love being with them and going to their sporting events. They're very active in sports. I feel like that was what I was almost born to be, is to be a mom. It's one of my biggest dreams was always to be a mom. So I take full advantage of that because, man, is it flying by. My oldest is 14. I swear he was just born. So my kids keep 14 years ago. They all keep me very busy. I love being outside. I love our 4 seasons. I'm not the biggest fan of cold weather, I'll be honest. I don't really get into winter sports a lot. I love warm weather. I love our falls. I love our springs. I love our summers. I love being outside. I love gardening. I love cooking. I like going out and listening to live music. And I also like sitting at home. Kind of a homebody, but I like to get out of the house too. So I love exercising. I do work out probably every Morning for sure during the week. I'm super passionate about that because that's been a whole journey for me too, is a healthy lifestyle. I wasn't always that way. So that is another huge passion of mine, is motivating people to be healthy and to move their bodies, because man, are we lucky that we can, because someday we won't be able to. So you got to stay active. Yeah, those are my other passions.
And Minnesota's a great state to do it. Like you said, we got 4 seasons,
Oh my
all
gosh,
4 seasons,
I
and
love
you
it.
get to really experience all 4 seasons.
I know.
The winter can be a little long
extreme.
sometimes.
But the last couple of years, we've been really lucky. I mean, we really have.
Yeah, like the day we're recording this, it's supposed to be 50 degrees, and the day
Yes.
prior it was up to 40. And I'm like, hey, it's time to break out the shorts.
I know. Before you know it,
Flip-flops.
I always think, okay, before you know it, it'll be spring and then summer and then fall. So yeah, I just love all the things about Minnesota. The Minnesota nice thing is a true thing. I mean, you go all over the country when you travel, when you volunteer here, and man, we really do have great people here.
Well, thank you so much for kind of coming in, sharing, about yourself, as well as kind of what some of your goals and initiatives are for the year and your focus as president. And, I think it's very interesting to hear you just talk about how it's not just about you, it's about, everyone, and
Yes.
it's about members,
Yes.
and I think that really shows really where your head's at. And I think that's something that from a staff perspective, we've been very lucky to have over since I've been here, right, is leaders who are very member driven and member
Yes.
focused, right? And I mean, that's one of our core values here,
Yes.
right? Like if you go to the about page of About SPAAR, it says member driven, member
Yes.
run. And, seeing that being your guys' focus, and having been the focus of a lot of the leadership that has come before you as well, is just, it's great to see that and to hear that as well.
Yeah.
Is there any kind of final thoughts that you would like to share with our members?
Yeah, I think if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, don't be afraid to reach out. I mean, I'd love to help you in your business or answer any questions that you have. I feel like I'm an open book, and I don't, I feel like I'm very approachable. So hopefully if you have any questions or need anything, you let us know.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Jennifer. I appreciate it.
Thank you.